Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, we're doing Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn, Supportive Oracle Cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. I don't know. I'm all like happy with the air readings today. Well, I mean, the sun is in Gemini. Is that why? Like, I'm all jazzed about the air readings. Like, all sorts of jazzed. Well, that's very interesting. I shouldn't be surprised. Because, you know, I feel like Libra, like, used to be anyway. They used to shock me with some of the stuff that they would do. Not because they were, like, coming out of nowhere, but just kind of like, you guys really can pull it together, and the way you work things out, I just think when I was younger I didn't understand how Libra really worked. I didn't understand, like, you have a really good way of, like, finding a positive way of working situations forward. There are ups and downs to every sign, but, like, you can be really diplomatic and get people who don't normally get along, you can find ways for them to get along. And I'm really feeling good about this because I think that's what you're doing. You're pulling some people together who usually or don't really want to get along, and you're kind of showing them their common angle, and you're kind of like, listen, you don't have to be best buddies, but I don't think you need to come at each other. Like, it's not like you have a similar goal in mind. You don't have to attack each other. Again, you don't have to be best buddies, but there's no need to work against each other. And I feel like this is what you're kind of pulling it together. You're kind of like, listen, you don't have to be best friends. You don't have to be best friends, but, like, stop going for each other. There's a lot coming in, a lot starting this off. Like, this is a very deep situation. There's a lot of angles, a lot of things going on, a lot of different levels. You got the Ace of Pentacles, which makes me think for a lot of you this has some type of financial connection. If it's not a business thing, there's somehow money, like money is a factor here. Seven of Swords, let's just be careful, and the Hanged Man. Now, is somebody getting something they shouldn't? I don't know. I don't really think it's you. I'm getting like a survival kind of like I have to take care of myself energy. I don't think it's you. I think it's somebody you're dealing with. Survival kind of like, you know, I need to look out for myself. I've done so much. Maybe technically I shouldn't have that right now, but I do deserve it, so I'm taking it, you know, before somebody else, you know, takes advantage of me again. Somebody has like this survival energy. But it seems like it's going to fit most of you. Like, you're dealing with somebody that they seem like they're a bit difficult to deal with, and they seem to take stuff that doesn't really belong to them. But there's a sense of like, yeah, but I've done so much and I deserve this because I got cheated before, so I'm taking now because I got cheated before. And before I get cheated again, I'll make sure I take care of myself now while I can. I'll get extra now while I can before I get cheated again later. There might be a heads up about one of the people you're dealing with, because it seems like they're a little bit difficult and they're a little bit shifty. It doesn't validate that whole. It doesn't validate it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just so you're aware of the mentality you're dealing with. Because it seems like this, like, I get cheated all the time. So if I have an opportunity to get a little extra, I need to, because I'm going to get cheated again. That's just how the world works for me. It's a cranky energy too. Because I'm getting that with the Seven of Swords and the Hanged Man. It's kind of like somebody stealing something. Like, technically they're stealing is what I'm getting. But they're stuck in this weird, like, energy. Kind of like, I always get taken advantage of, so I have to move ahead. That's the Hanged Man. Like, they're stuck in that mentality. I don't think that's you. I think this is what you're dealing with. It's just weird that it's showing up on your side, because I feel like you're trying to figure out, like, what's the deal with this person? Like, why are they like that? It's weird the way that's coming in, because you're trying to figure it out, but you're also having to deal with it. You're also having to police it a little bit. Who was the other one? There was another sign, I don't remember which one, in this section for this week, that they had to police people. I wonder if it was Cancer. Guessing. Totally guessing. But there was like this whole policing energy, like I have to police people and I don't really want to. It was kind of like that. It's weird that that word's coming out, especially with the world, but it's kind of like, I don't want to do this, but somebody has to look out for this situation. I feel very held down by it. I feel very mired down by it. I have to look at all the different angles. I got to actively move forward. That's not right. Listen, before you get in trouble, put that back. That's not yours, and that person's going to cause some issues, and it's not like you wouldn't have asked for it, so put that back. That's not yours. There's a big energy here. It's weird how the energy's kind of like mixing here, because you're trying to understand it. And you also got fruition, growth, and boundaries. Again, the boundaries with, I don't know why, but I think it's the boundaries, but something's really making me feel, well, it's the Ace of Wands with the Seven of Cups, kind of like I have to get together and I got to figure out what's going on here, and I have to regulate this situation. I have to regulate all these possibilities, the active energy, the boundaries, putting it together, like, no, that's not where you're supposed to be. No, don't go in there. That's not, stay out of that room. That's not your room. Like, you have to, like, I feel like that's one of the things you have to do. Like, that's not your room. Stay out of that room. You don't belong there. Stay out of there. That's not your stuff. Leave that stuff alone. Like, I feel like you're really, literally, I keep using that word police. It's driving me nuts. But the thing is, things are getting better. When you say things, and I don't see, it's not like you're about it. It's just kind of like, hey, that's not yours. Put it back. That's not yours. Stay out of there. That's not your place. Don't, stay out of that room. You're not having to be overly aggressive about it. You're just having to keep on it and keep reminding, like, I see you. Don't do that. And it seems to keep this other energy more honest, but you also might, I feel like it keeps happening, and you're kind of like, why? Why do you keep doing that? I think that's why, that survival. I've been cheated so many times. When I get a chance to get ahead, I need to do it, because I will be cheated again. I always get cheated. But the fruition coming in with the growth and boundaries is telling me you seem to be kind of slowing that energy down. You're making it really think. Whoever it is, you're making them really think, like, all right, I better, the Libra sees what I'm doing. I mind my P's and Q's. Keep myself under control. This person's very disappointed. They also seem to be very upset with you. I'm getting, whoever this person is, they might have this weird energy about them, kind of like you're picking on me or you're attacking me attitude. And you're not really. You're not. They seem to have that response, like, you're attacking me. You're causing me pain. You're singling me out. And they seem to walk away from you. They walk away from the whole situation, though. You don't like this outcome. This is not what you were going for. You have the Three of Swords, kind of like, this person almost like gives up and walks away, and like, well, apparently you don't like me, so I guess I'll go away. And you're like, I'm just telling you to just keep your hands on your own stuff. Like, don't take other people's stuff. Stay out of places that you don't belong. I'm not saying I don't like you. I'm just saying stay where you're supposed to be and keep your hands off other people's things. And you're kind of like, I don't understand why you think I don't like you. You're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and I'm just not letting you get away with it. It's very weird energy, kind of like, it's upsetting you. Kind of like, no, we're not enemies. I'm just, like, we're not enemies. But they seem to be reacting to you as if you're singling them out. And you're like, I'm not. I'm just not letting you get away with something you should not get away with. The thing is, I think it also makes you upset because you weren't mean to this person. I don't really feel you sniping at this person. I just feel you kind of like, hey, I see you. That's not right. Put that back. Hey, I see you. That you don't belong in there. Get out of there. That's not your room. Whatever that is. And to me, it feels like it's getting twisted around. You got resistance, acceptance, and assessing. Now, it's funny with this. Resistance and acceptance in the same thing. Or like in the same moment here. It's like accepting and resisting at the same time seems very contradictory. But what I'm getting from it is basically you're feeling the resistance, but they're accepting they're not going to get away with this. So they're accepting that you're not going to let them do whatever they want to do, and that you're constantly keeping an eye on them. I'm seeing that with this assessing. Like, you have an eye on the situation, you see what they're doing, and you're not going to allow it, and you're resisting them doing these things. That's the resistance part. The accepting is like they're accepting that they're not going to get away with it. They're accepting that this is not, they're not going to be able to pull these little fast ones they want to pull. Thus, they're walking away. Thus, they're making it look like you're singling them out, and you're not. That's not even what's happening there. It's kind of frustrating to me because it's like that's not at all. Like, you're not. Like, that's not what's happening. But the Moon card here on your side next is like, now you're trying to figure out, like, now what do I do? Like, I feel like you're at a loss. Like, I don't understand why this is happening this way. For some of you, if you're coming to this reading and this is literally where you are, I feel like the explaining of that person's attitude where, they feel like life cheats them and constantly cheats them. So if they have a moment to get ahead, they feel like that's what they need to do. They also seem to think that other people do that all the time. How come other people can do it and they can't? That's their opinion of the world or their view of how things work. Doesn't mean that's what's happening. That's how they feel it's happening. And they feel like it's going to happen to them again. So maybe this is part of this reading for you to get a little bit more insight about that person's character and why they're acting the way they're acting. Again, it doesn't validate it, just a little, insight. Hopefully that helps. The Nine of Wands, the Nine of Cups, and the Emperor. Somebody else gets involved here. I don't think this is going to be bad. But a new person comes in and tries to work it out. I'm getting the Emperor kind of bringing something into the situation. They're offering something into the situation. They're trying to pull the situation back together, and they're trying to make it work out better. Whoever was trying to sneak away here, kind of well, you don't like me, so I guess I'll just go away. The Emperor doesn't let them leave. Somebody else is not letting them leave. And they're stabilizing the situation, and they're not willing to let this go. Whatever they're doing, they're kind of listen, if the Libra said you can't go into that person's room, listen, it's not your room. You can't go in there. You're not allowed in there. I almost feel like the Emperor is kind of backing you up, kind of the Libra didn't do anything to you. They're not singling you out. They're basically saying, you don't belong there. That's not yours. Stay out of there and put stuff down that's not yours. Don't take stuff that's not yours. It's literally feeling like that to me. And the Emperor's no, the Libra is not aligning against you. The Libra's not doing anything. They're just basically saying that's not right. It's not fair. Don't do that. The Ten of Wands is telling me there's some stress between the Emperor and whoever this person is. I don't feel like that's for you. Even if you're literally there, I don't see I see it's between the Emperor and that person. The Emperor is just kind of reiterating what you've already said. You don't really need to say much at this point. I don't know if you will or not, because Libra's when you need to talk, you talk. But I feel like you're more watching and absorbing and just letting this be the Emperor's thing. I just feel like you're letting that happen. It seems like that's the right thing. There's a lot of stress between the Emperor and this other person. The Emperor seems very upset about this, kind of almost like they're really looking into it, oh, is the Libra really singling you out? And then they see what's actually happening, and they're no, the Libra's not singling you out. I didn't think they were, but when I'm finding out what's really happening, the Libra's not doing that. And the Emperor's really stressed about this. They don't want you being viewed that way. They don't want that person feeling that way. They're that's not what's happening. There's stress there. They're trying to iron it out. They're trying to make it make more sense. Again, I think that's why we explain that person's mentality the way I'm experiencing it. The change with the void is kind of there's an emptiness here. This person is doing what they're supposed to. They're not crossing lines anymore, but there's the lack of a connection there. There's definitely the lack of a connection there. It bothers me a little bit, but what I'm getting on your side is the Ten of Pentacles, and this is the correct way to handle this is what I'm getting. So this may seem a little off base, but let's see where it goes. You can't make somebody do different. Well, I shouldn't say that. You can't make somebody see a situation in a different light if they don't want to. If they wholeheartedly believe the world is stacked against them, and they view you as a part of that system that's stacked against them, anything you say, it's kind of anything you say can and will be held against you. It's kind of that's how it feels. It's no matter what you say, it's always angled that you are a part of that system and you're working against them. So standing strong with the Emperor and just letting that person be for now, because if they can't really hear you and they don't really want to hear you, they're not going to hear you. That's just how it is. But for this moment, hopefully that changes. Everything changes sooner or later, of course. But I'm getting the Ten of Pentacles. It's just for you to realize the Emperor is standing with you, not as in we stand in a united front, not like that. The Emperor is standing with you because that you're not doing anything wrong. The Emperor stands with you because there's no reason to stand against you, and literally you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's not I don't know, I want this to come across right, because it's not like they're creating this united front, like whatever we say is what's going to happen. It's not like that at all. The Emperor believes in you and doesn't see you doing anything wrong, and that's kind of why you have that support. That's the Ten of Pentacles in this situation, kind of like there's a very strong solidarity, but not because we're going to make things go our way, not like that. It's like you're not doing anything wrong, and there's no reason to not stand with you. But I think this is what I'm missing. They're not standing against this other energy either. They're technically standing with you, but they're not standing against anybody else. They're just kind of like, they're standing for what's right and what's correct. So they're not standing against somebody. They're technically standing with you because you're in the same mode of thought. Your card popped. Well, I think this is your card. I'm assuming this is Libra card because Justice, the Scales. I think of it as Libra. I think it is the Libra card. I don't know why my brain's taking a blank on that. But this is your moment. You're right exactly where you're supposed to be is what I'm getting. This is balancing out. Now, things are going to shock you going forward. Things are also going to get better. The Sun card with the Tower card, there's choices coming forward. This person is actually going to do better than expected. I also feel like they're conforming because they can't get away with certain things. The Hermit card is trying to understand if the situation really is better or not, because it's going a lot better with the Sun card, but what I'm getting with the Hermit card is kind of like both sides trying to assess what the other side is thinking. So the other person who, had this problem the whole time is trying to understand where you're really standing. Vice versa, you're like, it's going good now, but is this really fixed? Is this really better? Even though it's going really well, and this is a shock that it's going really well. Some type of choice comes in. I feel like the Emperor has something to do with that. Don't get caught up in the gender, but something with the Emperor has something to do with this. Things go a lot better. There's rules that seem to stay in place. Rules like the Justice is leading to the Hierophant, which is telling me rules are in place. You're very much happy with these rules. Everything is something you can live with. It's kind of like that person, whoever it was, like they're trying to take other people's things. They're trying to go in places they're not supposed to be. Now there's something to keep them occupied. Now there's something for them to actually work towards. Instead of trying to take other people's stuff, here's an opportunity for them to work to get their own stuff. Here's a place for them to fit. They have their own spot now. They have their own goals. They can make their own things happen. Things are moving around, and it's like now this person who was trying to take other people's things and go where they weren't supposed to, now they have a place to fit. Now they have their own things. Now they have a way to achieve things that they want to achieve. Their focus is put so where they have opportunities and they're moving towards their opportunities. So it's like they're conforming to the rules, but they have opportunities with those rules. They're seeing those opportunities or they're working with them, one of the two. It's dicey. But at this point, you're very happy with the King of Cups. Okay, this is going well. Be aware of this. Be aware of this, because I feel like this is an underlying situation. That person with that energy, life always, gets the better of me. Life always cheats me. Sooner or later it'll cheat me again attitude. It's still there. The Ten of Swords with this person, I feel like it's like hidden a little bit. Because there's a card like buried under a couple more, and I'll show you in a second. But that attitude, that feeling that life always cheats me, it's just a matter of time before it cheats me again. I got to look out for my opportunity, because if I get a chance to get ahead, I need to take that, because it doesn't happen often, and life's going to cheat me again, so I have to get ahead before I get cheated again. It's still there. That pain is still there with the Ten of Swords. And just to be fair, I don't know who this person is. Obviously, it's a general read. Maybe life has been quite like that to them. Maybe that's been the harsh lessons for this person. And to realize that that's how life has treated them doesn't mean life has to continually treat them that way, but that's how they feel. That is their reality. Just realize that that's there. They've got wisdom here, but they have wisdom here, and this is how it was showing up, if I can get it correctly, because there's a card hidden down there. King of Swords and the Wisdom card. This is them realizing, I can't be reckless with this. If I want to get ahead, I got to at least make these people think I'm playing by their rules. That's what I'm getting with this. The control of the King of Swords, the communication control, the wisdom to know, if I keep putting myself out there, if I keep letting people know what I'm doing, even though it's only fair that I have my turn to get ahead. Life always cheats me. It's not fair. If people keep seeing me do it, it's just going to work against me, and I'm setting myself up to have more pain. So they're kind of working with you. The wisdom with the King of Swords is saying, all right, I'm not going to get away with it, so I better stop trying to get away with it. All right, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to make it look like I'm following the rules. Technically, at this point, I think they are, but it's also a mix of like, well, I got to make people think I'm at least playing by their rules. This is the card that's hidden. It's the Devil card. It lurks. It's lurking beneath the surface. It's like, it's just not going away. That feeling is not going to go away. So it's always going to be kind of there. I feel like if you're just aware of it and understand that that's how they feel, I don't feel like you need to be kind of like, oh, I got to be on guard. I'm not feeling that with Libra. I'm feeling like there's going to be opportunities for you to try to help this person see otherwise, to see a little bit more hope. It's just kind of like being sensitive to it and realizing that's the energy that's there, and just when you have an opportunity to prove different or give them an opportunity to see it differently, making sure you present that and put that in front of them. I feel like at this point that's the best you can do. I'm also getting, by the way, this person, like, they seem to bond with you in a weird way. I don't know about really like warm and fuzzy conversations or, you know, them really opening up to you, but the more that they realize how you treat them is how you treat everybody, the more they see that, the more they realize that, there's gonna be a level of trust they'll attain. I mean, I know it's a general read, but they're gonna get a little bit more comfortable with you. I kind of take it with a grain of salt, see where it goes, obviously. But like, the more they see how you treat them is how you literally treat everybody. Like, you're like, I don't treat people differently. I'm getting that with the Libras I'm connecting with. Like, you know, I don't know. They're going to understand you, and they're going to get a little bit more, like, it's almost like they want to believe that the world is a better place than they've experienced. And they're constantly watching you. I don't think this is going to be a problem, but be aware of that. They're watching you to see how you treat others in the same position as they were in, and they're constantly going through that in their brain. So I don't think this is going to be a problem, but I just feel like it's another thing for you to be aware of. So that way maybe there's certain pieces this person doesn't know. And if you're at liberty to disclose these things so they can understand things a little better, you might have an opportunity there too to teach them. Like, I treat everybody the same. You have to keep in mind you don't see everything out front. I don't put everything out front, what happens behind the scenes, but I do treat everybody the same. You may not know that this person did that, this, that, and the other thing, and that's why I'm doing that, how I'm treating them that way. But I'm letting you know that just so you can see the balance of it. You seem to be teaching this person something about balance. Sorry, I know Libra's balance, Libra's the scales, and I feel like I say it so much, but it's a driving force for Libra usually. And it's kind of like, I'm showing you how things, like how you do this. This is, if you do this behavior, you get this outcome. If you do that behavior, you get this outcome. You do good things, you get good outcome. You do bad things, you get bad outcome. Life isn't guaranteed it'll work out that way, but if you do more good things, you tend to get more good things. If you do more bad things, you tend to get more bad things. That's kind of like the balance how you're seeing it. I feel like you're trying to teach that. And like, you know, your actions help up to a point. You know, you try to keep yourself in certain areas and certain situations because you want to stay away from things that make your life rough. There's a lot. I feel like a lot of this was understanding this person more, because I feel like it's giving you a lot of a lot of information to help create an advantage, if I don't edit that down too much. So I think we're good. I think I've talked about it enough. I mean, 20-something minutes. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.